right when I got home, I like started throwing stuff out of the pantry and the fridge. Like, I'm not eating this shit no more. No more chips. No more this. No more whatever. And then my dad comes in and sees it, and he's like, yeah, you're gonna lose like 20 but gain like 40 back, just like you always do.
Sure.
And that was like,
that was it.
Boom.
That was a spark.
Oh man, that was like the moment my whole life changed.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, it is weird to be back in front of cameras, back in front of like a microphone, doing the whole podcast thing again.
But you didn't even have, what was your setup?
So when I was doing the last podcast, this was like during COVID. So I just had like the whole webcam set up and then like a blue snowball microphone, like some like microphone off Amazon for like $70.
And the guest just had whatever they had.
AirPods, their MacBook microphone, whatever. And I would just edit it myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's cool. Now we got like the whole setup. You know, we got Founders Inc. kind of putting this on for us.
Yeah.
The #1 podcast of Founders Inc.
And there are more than one podcast
At Founders Inc.
There is.
But we are
verify that.
Yes, but we are the #1.
We are the #1 Founders Inc. podcast in the world.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. Funny how that works.
Like we started out, we were #1 in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
And then we were #1 nationally.
Right.
And then, like, I don't know, another week passed and we were #1 in the world.
All before our first episode.
Yeah, we haven't even made an episode.
And we got Labib coming in.
Oh, what's up?
Labib in the house.
Let me put these on.
What's going on?
Chilling. Excited. All right, let's make sure I did this right.
Yeah. Switch to wide. Yeah, we're
Wide.
still getting into the flow of things. But
Nice.
yeah. Welcome everyone to the first episode of The Doc. As just mentioned, we are the #1 podcast at Founders Inc. We are not the only podcast at Founders Inc.
Really?
Yes, believe it or not. And today we are joined by Labib Yasir.
What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. It's a beautiful day in SF on the water.
Yeah, we were both just in LA last week together. 110 degree weather, 105 degree weather.
Was
it was
it
not
that
great.
hot?
Yeah, especially where I live, like in the valley.
Yeah.
So it gets pretty hot up there. Santa Monica, not bad, similar to SF, but the valley, man, it was like 108, 110.
Yeah.
And then driving up from there,
A little overheating car action.
overheating car, pulling over, putting coolant in his car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so I was driving a friend's car up, and so there was like a coolant problem. And so twice I would just pull over and like put the coolant in because it was just so hot.
Yeah, it was like a cracked tank or something. I don't know what it was, but
The
basically
car was messed up
Yeah.
to start.
But it was like a nice like Range Rover.
It was like a Range Rover, driving it all up myself.
But did
and
he
it was just
tell
like,
you the car
Yeah,
was messed
yeah,
up?
yeah, we knew.
So you guys were prepared.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Omar would be like, yo, it ran out.
I'd call him and be like, yo, coolant's back. I'm going to have to pull over in a little bit.
Okay.
He's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to pull up like AAA.
Yeah. Labib was AAA for the drive back up. 5-hour drive, 7 hours, but it was
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, it was
I-5 is a pretty nice drive.
Okay.
Yeah, but last week, so Labib actually, I don't know if I told you about this. So Labib put on this event for Kayyo at LA Tech Week, and the roster of people that pulled up was actually insane.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty stacked. I don't want to give all the credit to myself. We definitely worked with a PR company called Athlete Strategies. I want to give a shout out to Anthony Baldini.
Anthony.
Yeah, he's just a hustler. He's also from NorCal,
Nice.
but he's been in the sports space, the tech space, just in general, like also academia. So he has a lot of plugs there. We were able to get a really nice spot in the promenade for like under $1,000 that like I think probably ran for like 30 or 40K for a rental. I don't know how we got that done. And then we had a bunch of people throughout sports and technology. So we had people from Kabata Fitness, VCs like Upfront, SoftBank, Andreessen. Then on the athlete side, we had people from USC, some NFL players, and then the biggest one that I didn't know that was going to show up was Dave Isaacs. He's the original founder of the UFC, and he spoke on our panel, so that was very fun, big surprise.
Was before Fertitta?
He sold it to them.
He sold it to Fertitta.
He's the actual guy who made it in the 90s.
What's the backstory on that?
So him and the Gracie family originally were the originators of the UFC back in the 90s, when the original plan was to basically find out like who is the ultimate fighter, right? Like who is like the best boxer? Is boxing better than wrestling? Is wrestling better than that? So he partnered up with the Gracie family, and the premise was actually trying to find a person who would be worthy of like defeating Mike Tyson. Because at that time, Mike Tyson was known as like the most dangerous man on planet.
Yeah.
And that's where like all the marketing was going towards. So they just got random people from like Brazil, Japan, Europe, in the US to showcase their styles, to see who the best style is. But now we know you got to be well rounded.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's the guy who like made it. He was like the original producer.
Do you remember the rough amount of what?
How much he sold it for?
Yeah.
Yeah. He only sold it for $2 million.
Wow.
And then the UFC sold to
That's
Endeavor
insane.
for 4.2 billion.
That's
And
gotta
now
hurt.
it's worth like
That's what I was gonna say.
11 plus billion. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what the structure of his sale was, if he like kept some equity or something, but I'm
Yeah.
sure he thinks about it every day like, damn.
And what's he doing now?
So he is actually working on a bunch of new sports leagues. He's been doing this for a while. So he did something on like BET. He did stuff, I think, on like VH1, ESPN. But I think his main project right now is a basically like a American football, but without pads. So think of like rugby, but American football rules. And apparently he's saying it's safer and stuff because when you have pads on in football, you like obviously go head to head and stuff like that. So yeah, new thing he's working on seemed interesting.
Okay, interesting.
But to back up for a second, so you were putting on this event for Kayyo.
Yeah.
What is Kayyo?
Kayyo. All right, Kayyo. So Kayyo, we basically allow people to train and compete in mixed martial arts. It's basically now a software solution that's like an MMA coach in your pocket. Yeah.
So it's like Peloton, but like MMA? Is that how you would put it?
I think that was like V0.1 when we first like started thinking about it.
Okay.
Also for my like previous company when we did like some video to pair with the hardware.
Okay.
But now as like technology is advancing, there's less use of like large hardware or even like portable hardware until like someone really needs it if they're like at a certain athletic level. So now we're really focusing on like computer vision, seeing how we can, train people with video, but also like social challenges and things like that. So it's reinventing the gym. I think one of the issues with all these fitness companies from like, the pandemic era, even before then, like Peloton, Tonal, Mirror, it's that when you have such large physical hardware, you do give yourself like a cap. A lot of fitness is social. Like look at us last week, lifting together.
Yeah.
I can't be like, bro, bring your Peloton to my house. Like, it's not a thing, right? So there's I think social is inherently fitness, and you need a solution to solve that too.
Interesting. So from what I remember, like a month or two ago when we were talking, you guys had sensors.
Yeah.
Right. I came to your place in Cupertino and you gave me a box of like these two small sensors.
Yep.
Those are gone now.
So they're still somewhere on the product map. What happened is like, so from the prior company I was working on was called Power Punch, right? It was just straight resistance training.
Okay.
No sensors.
Like an
nothing.
e-com company. Just
straight e-com company,
Okay.
DTC brand. And at the time we saw a lot of people enjoy the hardware with the resistance. And our like main user avatar was like professional and amateur fighters looking to punch harder, kick harder with resistance training, which is like proven, tried method in S&C. And it was working great. And then when people on the larger scale were like trying to buy it, they love the hardware too, but that wasn't solving their main problem. Their main problem was, how do I do this sport or thing I see on TV? So we started creating video content and, it started solving the problem. Then we try to figure out how can we make this smart with sensors and everything. But as we go even to a larger market, a larger scale market with like people who don't even have a little bit of experience, resistance is too much for them right now too. Like you can't make someone do a bench press if they can't do a push-up yet.
Right.
So right now the focus is how can we make them do proper technique with punches, kicks, maybe some grappling with computer vision, and then maybe soon we'll drop that hardware in the future.
I guess I'm curious about the technical side of how you're able to make that work without sensors. But before even going into that, what stage are you guys in right now from like a user acquisition standpoint? User
acquisition? I mean, we haven't turned on paid. I don't think I'm gonna turn on paid acquisition until like some signal of PMF. Like I don't think it's time to scale that yet before you really like know what's going on, what people like. I would say a lot of our stuff is like experimentation phases right now. Like we've done the alphas, we're in a beta, and our like main method of acquisition is like organic marketing. So this could be things like using my favorite meme pages or theme pages or even like TikTok influencers or TikTok content, especially if you know how to game the system and know that you don't have to be limited to one channel on TikTok.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways to get organic lead capture or acquisition on there.
Okay, I'm listening. You know,
Yeah.
I know a lot of people listening to this would love to use TikTok to actually like organically boost their products, right? So how would you do that?
Yeah. Okay. So this is how I'll break it down. Right now on TikTok or any social platform, Reels are killing it on IG. You can do this on Twitter too. People will create a brand account and limit themselves to like one user persona or how their brand is perceived.
Yeah.
But it's, I think, pretty common that within your user cohorts, you're going to have like different types of people using it. And it makes sense to like launch different pages that take on different types of people. So like right now we might have, our brand page. Then we have a page that shows like Kayyo knockouts. So you just see like knockouts, and that's another like distribution acquisition channel. Then we have one page where we have like a UGC creator who's like a girl in Toronto who talks about how she uses Kayyo to work out in between her jobs as as an engineer or something.
Interesting.
So there's like all these different methods you can start making the brand segmented, so you don't have to rely on like one account that just like bombs and you're like, shit, I can't do this, I have to do it again. You have a bunch of different pools that can work, and then whatever works, that's what you double down on and keep growing.
Interesting. Okay, so I know Vishal has seen your product, but I'm curious to see if he'll be able to guess kind of how many waitlist followers it has.
Waitlist followers.
Like waitlist users.
I'm gonna guess. How long has it been active?
Like 4 months. 4 months, yeah. It's not a crazy number, honestly.
Yeah,
It's pretty
Let's
good.
say I'm gonna guess 5,000.
So
More
I
than
signed
that, yeah.
I signed up a week ago while I was in the car with him.
Yeah,
And it came out to 41,000.
41,000.
Yeah, 41
Pre-product.
people, yeah.
Pre-product.
So that was a lot of like influencers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say a lot of our like hype came from the previous stuff I've worked on.
Okay.
So we work with like 15 guys in the UFC. Like Casey Kenny. Who else we work with? Jalen Turner. Like all those guys we work with. Then like famous TikTok influencers like Joshua Ayala. He's like followed by Izzy Adesanya, Eric Samuelson. Joe Rogan's posted his videos on his podcast before. Joe and Connor both follow him. So they've posted our stuff. So
Right.
we've always been able to tap into like the exact type of people who like MMA pretty easily. So yeah, it grew pretty easily. And then
But
go ahead.
how are you doing that without a product? Like in terms of how are you building this community and establishing that credibility with all of these legit names?
Content. I mean, I had a previous MMA brand. So I had a previous MMA brand. We sold about 18,000 units of the equipment that's like non-tech, just e-commerce. Good run rate, bootstrapped, built a lot of connections. And from there, we just solidified a lot of relationships.
Yeah.
And then our other acquisition channel was like the meme pages and the theme pages.
Yeah.
So like on our cap table, we have meme page owners or theme page owners with networks of like, 500 million plus followers on their Instagram accounts. They have
Yeah.
like a huge like, conglomerate, and we tell them like, hey, can you post this or can you retweet this on Twitter, and they'll do it and it'll help us out.
So you're saying that like a lot of that or some of that 41,000 was just either connect or like signups from your ecom product.
Yeah, so I would say like at least like 8K people are direct customers from the previous one. So it's like when those people had the OG product back in the day with like no videos, no sensors, nothing, just straight up hardware.
Just resistance.
And I'm not even gonna say hardware because hardware and tech is different than just like it's resistance bands, right? Just like formulated in the right way that works with like boxing and MMA.
Sure.
So those people have seen the progression over like since like 2019 when that brand was alive. That we wanted this happened. We wanted this happened. So when KO launched, we have like an entire like founder letter that's like, hey, you've been part of this whole time. Like we even talked about Cupertino. We sent up, there's a picture of the garage in the email.
Yeah.
Me and Imran saying what's up, and like the whole thing, like, hey, like we've listened to all the issues you guys had over the years, and like this is like where we think it's gonna like be the best and the biggest thing we can do.
Okay, there's two things on that I want to touch on, but the first thing being, what's it like transitioning from e-commerce to an actual tech startup? Because you don't have much of a background, right, in like tech in general.
Zero.
Right? It was all
Yeah.
entertainment, content, YouTube, all that.
Yeah. I don't have like any experience in like being an engineer or like being an APM or any of that stuff. I've always been in business.
Right.
I've like always been doing my own business since I was like 16. That's like that. So maybe I've like experienced there as a, you know, quote unquote operator, as these people like to say.
Sure.
Yeah, whatever that means. But yeah, like a lot of my background, I think I just put it together and it like, I got qualified for tech, like content, paid acquisition, working on my own product. I guess like I'm a PM, working with logistics companies and 3PLs, you know, that's operations. So like, I think I've touched on different things that are not like tech, but I think I've built those skills in various areas of my life where I can come in and say, hey, like, this is not that crazy. Because even the tech company I worked at, Outer, first growth hire there at Series A, like sub 30 people at the team. And my onboarding was like a Notion doc. So like, that's a startup, right? Like get to it, you know, managing a couple million in ad spend a week, working with ops, product marketing teams, product, diving into like how like propensity scoring works, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
I think all the skills I just built up over the years gave me enough context and like learning ability to like figure it out.
But what was your introduction into the tech world? Because like we know a lot of e-com kids, you know, a lot of them on like Twitter, TikTok, whatever, they just make traditional like drop shipping and whatnot. I don't see a lot of them going into like the tech startup world. Like, how did you even realize that, you know, you can pitch a product idea to someone and raise like X $100,000 for it?
So I think my first introduction would be like Outer. I joined Outer in March 2021.
Okay.
And I basically saw like before that, like all the demand that people had for Power Punch.
Right.
And they wanted these various things like, oh, like I want videos, I want an app, I want all this stuff. Even on my phone, in my notes, it says like Power Punch ecosystem, like back from March 2021 and like all the things I wanted to do.
Right.
But I'm like, all right, I don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
Because I've not done this yet.
Yeah.
So I need to go get a job at a startup to learn.
Oh,
Yeah,
so you got that job because
learn.
you knew that you wanted to eventually get into tech.
I need to learn somewhere though. So I didn't have any experience in tech. So I was like,
Interesting.
okay, I need to learn how this thing happened, because before that, like I've never even been in a tech space. And I even applied to Google like the year before to get, like 3-4 months before I got it to Outer to like learn about tech, but I didn't get in. I made it to the final interview.
Made it to the final interview.
Yeah, I made it to the final. Interviewing for Google was my very first job interview in my life.
And
That's
wow. And so you made it to the
Yeah.
final interview and then no?
So I did a total of 4 interviews.
Okay.
This was like for not product marketing. It was, I think, like marketing and sales. I
Okay.
think I was going to be on like the more on the sales side, like AE or something, to help with like SMBs and eventually like enterprise.
Right.
And then I made it to the final interview. I thought I did well. And then they called me and I thought I was going to get it because, you know, they hit you with a call. And I also had no referrals.
Oh, wow.
I submitted cold on Google's like website. The recruiter hit me up, emailed me saying, hey, I saw your application. Like, would you be down to interview? I was like, yeah, sure. So made it to the final rounds. Thought I did well. I'm sure I could have done better now after knowing how like tech works. Before I was just like going in hot, just like saying whatever I wanted to say.
Yeah.
So made it to the final round. They called me and said, hey, Labib, like, you know, it was great. Everything was awesome. And I already knew like, all right.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, I
at that point,
because
it's
if you got to start with, yo, congrats, like just right off the way.
Yeah.
Right? If you give me some compliments in the beginning, I know you're trying to
You
soften
know it's
the
bad.
blow.
Yeah, you know it's gonna be bad.
So they're like, yeah, like, you know, it's a no for this position, but it's not a no from Google. And then I was like, I was pretty pissed.
Yeah. And
It's your birthday on my jacket, by the way. Thanks.
Oh, wow.
8/11.
I really just, can the camera see this? I have his birthday on my jacket sleeve.
Nice.
Wow. So how did that make you feel? Like, obviously it's not a great feeling, right? I know it's like,
I was super angry
yeah.
I'm
Angry
very
at
competitive.
who, at what?
at everything. I was like, why did I not get this?
And so are you the type of person where it's like when you get super angry, like you work harder or like you channel it, or are you just kind of like
No, I channel
punching the wall?
everything. No, I don't punch it. I mean, I compete. That's one different thing, but I
Well,
don't.
let's talk about that too
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit.
Okay.
Right?
100%, yeah.
As we're talking about competitiveness, right? But your kind of background in fighting
Yeah.
and how that ties into not only your startup career, but also what motivates you as a person.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just super competitive. And it's not like, oh, I think I'm like better than someone or something like that. It's just that like I know like I can like execute. Like I know I can get things done. So when like and I think that's why I've always been on the entrepreneur path too, because like it feels weird to me as like a third party. You're telling me I can't do something, It's not that I'm better than you're better than me. Like, why do you feel like you have the right to say that you think I can't do this?
Right.
This feels weird as a human. I'm not going to tell you guys you can't do this. Who am I? You know, you have your own will.
Yeah.
So when they told me like, oh, we don't think you're like qualified for this, I was like, okay, we'll see. And then, yeah.
And then, is it public how much you raised, or am I not allowed to say that?
Undisclosed right now. But
Undisclosed.
yeah,
But you raised, you just finished your round, right? You just closed it?
Yeah, we're having a closing party tonight and everything. So yeah, but I'm not even gonna do probably like a tech crunch thing or anything. I just keep it. Yeah,
just keep it low.
A lot of nuzzle out there. You know what I mean?
I feel that.
Yeah,
I feel that.
Keep it. We're just working on a small business. That's it.
I respect it. It. So before Google, before even ecom,
Yeah.
you were in a very non-traditional. So I'll let you explain it. What were you doing when you were 16 years old?
When I was 16 years old, I was on this show called Teens React. The media group or channel was known as the Fine Bros back in the day. Now they're known as React Media. It was essentially a talk show / reaction show to all the things happening in the world, from both like funny topics all the way to serious stuff. So yeah, we covered a plethora of different topics on there.
So you were one of the kids that they'd show videos to, and it's just like, your face would be on thumbnails of these videos with like billions of views.
Essentially, yes. So yeah, like when I first started, it was very simple, like reaction videos.
Yeah.
And as that like channel grew, honestly, I think some of my startup experience comes from being there. Because when I joined them, they were sub 2 million, and when I left, they're like 30 to 40 million plus.
Wow.
And they had different products, like different channels. So we started as like the React FB. Then React, which had like talk shows, game shows. Then we had a show on Nickelodeon. Like all these things were essentially like different products on the product roadmap, and it like expanded the whole thing. So I think some of my learnings came from there, seeing how they expanded. So yeah, I was there, had an awesome time, learned so much in terms of like thinking on my feet. Because when you watch those videos or anything we actually did, like on set, we didn't know what we were about to do. It was all like raw, live. Like, yo, the video plays, and you better think on your feet and have something good, because it's performance based, right?
Yeah.
Like if you bomb or you don't do good, like you're not going to get called back.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of pressure for what, like 16, 17-year-old?
Yeah, 16-year-old kid, like, yeah.
So does that give you a lot of like high school clout? Because you were still just going to normal high school, right?
Yeah. I mean, I went to El Camino, relatively like, I would think a lot of like, I guess like well-known people used to come there, like Kylie Jenner, Anastasia, like her friend, like all those like influencer type people did like attend school there.
Oh, wow.
So
This is Calabasas?
around Calabasas, yeah. I went to I went to school in Woodland Hills, so like Calabasas right there. So a lot of those people were there, but at the time, like they weren't really established yet. So like, yeah, I remember after my first episode airing, going into school on the Monday, like after like the first episode came out, and like kids just being like,
Just like looking
I was
at you.
looking, I was like,
That's awesome.
What? Because before that, I was like very antisocial, all that kind of stuff.
Low key.
Low key, yeah. Like, just like kept to myself all the time. I just never thought of like even talking out loud in class, because I just wasn't like that. I'm just
Sure.
like chilling by myself. And I remember honors English, Mrs. Gregorio's class.
Okay.
She actually was an MMA fan, funny enough.
Oh, wow.
We used to talk about like GSP fights and everything. And then this kid like in front of me turns around and says like, I saw you on the internet last night. And I was
That's
like,
hilarious.
I was like, for sure.
For sure.
For sure. I was like,
What do I say here?
yeah. And then, yeah, it grew and it grew. And like, it was weird, definitely in the beginning, especially online.
Yeah.
Like, I made a Twitter account when I was in 7th grade.
Okay.
Had a MySpace when I was like 9.
Nice.
All that kind of stuff. But then in the videos early on, they didn't have any of our social links on there. And at that time, I was like, why don't they? Because like you're a kid and you want to get like followers and stuff.
Right.
But now I know it's very smart that they didn't do that. You're literally a random kid with the world watching you, and there's a lot of scary people out there. But people will still find you, right? They were like, look up your name, find your last name, like search you on Twitter and stuff.
Yeah.
So I started getting like random followers from like the Philippines and like London and like all these different places.
Yeah.
And they're like adding you, and I'm like, who are these random people? I would wake up in the morning at 16, like this is like now we're in such a different era where they're just like super normal.
Yeah.
But like 10 years ago,
Having a lot of followers was like a lot bigger of a deal.
not even that. It's like just the idea of interacting with super random people as a kid,
Interesting.
it was like a weird thing for me.
But how'd your parents deal with that?
My parents have always been pretty supportive of everything I do. Their main thing has always just been like, like work hard and be a good person, and like everything will handle itself. And then my grandpa is like a politician and like stuff like that.
Wow.
So he's like kind of used to like people coming over and all that kind of in the media and stuff. So my mom's been used to it since she was a kid. And she's actually more, what do you call, defensive than like protective than like, I think most people, like she would see a bad comment. She's like, why did they say that about you? And I'm like, dude, don't worry. It's just a comment on YouTube. Yeah. She thought it was cool. She still tells me like, why don't you make videos anymore?
Yeah.
I was like such a fun time. Like, like making videos and like, all that kind of stuff.
And then how'd you get into fighting? So we know the company has to do with MMA and training. Can you explain not only the motivation to start the project, but what motivated you to start fighting and training?
100%. Yeah. So I was like not into fighting or karate or anything ever. Like there's never been a passion of mine. I did like fighting. I would get into a lot of fights in elementary school.
Okay.
Just like I liked fighting.
Okay.
And I actually went to kindergarten in Pakistan. And the kids bullied me a lot when I was a little kid because he's like that one kid from America, whatever. And even then I just like defended myself. Like I don't know. I just thought it was like fun. Like, okay, it's competitiveness, right? Like you watch cartoons and like Power Rangers and they're fighting. Like, okay, I'm gonna do this in real life.
Yeah.
But around 10 or 11, I was really into football actually, like obsessed with football.
Soccer or football?
Like American football.
Okay.
The USD is worth more than the euro. We can say football now.
Okay.
So
made a lot of people angry with that one.
that's all good. Come catch us, KO. Yeah, so like I love football, dude. I know Vishal, you're like big on all sports, right?
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
I was collecting football cards and everything.
Really?
Yeah. I was watching the NFL what's it called, Columbine, right?
Combine.
Yeah, Combine. Yeah. Not Columbine. Holy shit.
Well, you probably shouldn't laugh, but
yeah,
Went to the
NFL
live
Combine.
show.
Yes, NFL Combine. Yes, I had my favorite player was Donovan McNabb.
wow.
and
Okay, so
everything.
Eagles.
Yeah, Eagles, Vince Papale, Invincible. I was big,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
But my dad was pretty straight up. He was like, "Look, you're not gonna be like 6'6". This is really dangerous. So no more football." He was let me know in like 5th grade, like this is over, and I was like super sad because I love football. I used to play like QB every day, even with high school kids, like just like rocketing, freaking. You know, it was good times. But my dad said no.
Smart man.
But he did say, "Look, you're not disciplined. You're Batamise, aka like bad kid in Urdu. Like just I was good, but like I was wilding."
Sure.
And he said my coworker's been going to this place called Team Karate Centers, with his sensei. He's gotten really disciplined, gotten in good shape.
Yeah.
Would you be down to try it this summer? And I was like, whatever. Like I don't want to go to this dumb karate, this stuff that doesn't even work.
Yeah.
All the stuff you hear people say, like I would beat up a black belt. I'm a black belt and kick your ass. Shit, I was actually saying at 10 years old.
Yeah.
Like this, I don't know what's wrong with me. Yeah. So he took me there. I met the sensei. He set me up straight pretty like off the bat. He's like, I was overweight, like really overweight. I was like 270, not in 6th grade, but my peak, but I was fat.
You were 270?
I used to be 270 at one point. Yeah.
At what weight?
15 when I was 15. Yeah.
At what height?
Like 5'5". I mean, I lost 120 plus pounds through MMA. That's why this company is such a big passion of mine.
Wait to stop it. You were not 270.
Bro, we'll throw the picture up. I was big as hell. Yeah.
Wow.
What are you now?
Right now, I walk around 170, 175. Yeah,
And you fight at what?
145.
Bro.
Yeah, I was really big. I was really, really
What
big.
were you eating?
Everything. I swear to God, for lunch, I was eating 2 loaves of bread. Like for fun.
Who's giving you this?
Myself. Dude, I'm not even kidding you. When my parents would go grocery shopping as a kid, I would buy like the family size Lay's, like the lemon flavor, right? And 2 Arizonas. And by the time we left the grocery store, I would have to finish at least one of the Arizonas, Mucho Mango or Mango Madness was a good one, and half the bag of chips was done. And the other half would be done at that nighttime during the summer when I was watching my YouTube videos. So that's like 1,500 calories as a snack. I'm not even kidding. And then every day in like elementary, bro, like I would eat 2 to 3 sandwiches, like for lunch as a kid.
Like what's in the sandwich?
Like a McChicken. I'm just trying to say sandwiches sound healthier.
Holy, bro.
No, bro, I was big as shit, bro.
So did fighting make you lose the weight, or was that like a
this
whole
is,
other thing?
So this is how it happened. So MMA and martial arts helped me lose the weight, right? So I was always like I had a natural inclination towards fighting, right? It was solid, like good. At 12 years old, I got moved to adults class because like, all right, they're like, yo, go ahead. At 14, 15, I was training with Manny Gambirian and all the guys from Highest On, Ronda Rousey squad, all those people.
Yeah.
As like an obese kid,
That's
still.
Edmund. Edmund.
He's GC. He's the Diamond guys.
Okay,
yeah.
got
But
it.
the whole Highest On Glendale squad.
Sure.
Training with those guys since I was like 15.
Yeah.
And then this was a time where like my black belt test was approaching, right? In Hapkido, not BJJ. That's you can't get it that young. But my coach was telling me straight up like, yo, Labib, I'm gonna keep it honest with you. You're really talented and everything, but you're gonna fail all the physical tests. You can't climb the rope. You can't run 3 miles. You can't do push-ups. All this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of felt a little down after he told me that because I was like, man, like in high school when the bell rang and my practice was 3:45, I would run out of school like so excited to go train, right? It was I love it.
You love training.
I love everything about it, right? And then when he told me that, like my heart kind of broke. Like he was like thinking like, oh, I love this thing so much, but like even the person who's like closest to it is telling me like, you can't do this because look what you're doing to yourself. And then during practice, this is like out of a movie, you know the L stretch you do, like you touch your back, whatever.
Yeah.
I tried to do that and I physically couldn't because my fat was blocking it. Sounds ridiculous, right? Just so big and overweight. And then I was like, damn, like this is like the most disgusting, embarrassing thing I've done to myself.
But that was like the trigger point.
Trigger point.
Yeah,
That was like, I have vivid memories. Mr. Bill, right? I got up, he talked to me, and I was just like depressed throughout the whole class.
Yeah.
And then when I got home, I was like, dude, like this is a wrap. Like I'm done. And at the same time, I was watching this YouTuber named Shay Carl. I don't know if you guys remember him, but he did this thing called like Shay Lost, lose 50 pounds. So he was like kind of my inspiration too while I was like losing weight. I actually met him at VidCon a couple years later and I told him about the whole story and showed him the picture and I told him you were a big reason for this. That was like really fun meeting him. But right when I got home, I like started throwing stuff out of the pantry and the fridge. Like I'm not eating this shit no more. No more chips. No more this. No more whatever. And then my dad comes in and sees it and he's like, yeah, you're gonna lose like 20 but gain like 40 back just like you always do.
Sure.
And that was like
that was it.
Boom.
That was a spark.
Oh man, that was like the moment my whole life changed.
Wow.
Like I lost the first 50 and I lost the next 70 all within 6 months. I was losing 25 to 27 pounds every month. And I was training twice a day, running 8 miles a day. My breakfast was one cup of oatmeal I would cook the night before with a scoop of protein.
Yeah.
I put in the fridge. It would be basically Jell-O for nutrition at high school. Then my lunch was like a turkey sandwich on grain with like a salad and a protein shake. Come home, eat canned tuna, jump rope outside in the heat with the sweater on and everything.
Yeah.
And then at nighttime I would have brown rice, tandoori chicken, and spinach. And I ate that straight for 6 months. Wow. To a point where I actually like developed the eating disorder because anytime someone told me like it was Eid, my mom said have some biryani or palau, and I thought she was like trying to go against me.
Yeah.
Like try to get me fat again.
Sure.
And I took that so offensively.
Wow.
So yeah. So that
Wow.
That the MMA and that triggering me like, yo, you're like lying to yourself, flip the whole thing. Yeah.
So is there a nutritional element or even like a mental health element to your product?
Not at the moment, but I think it's a huge facet of becoming like the best you.
Yeah.
If you do as much physical exercise as you want, doesn't matter unless your other two things are locked in. Like the triangle is really mindset, physical fitness, nutrition. That's it, right? Yeah.
So I guess that's an interesting point. Where do you see Kayyo being in 5 to 10 years? Because in the e-com space, you got like a year to peak, right? With your product before the Facebook ads get dry or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about that either, about like the e-com space. Like I think if you actually build a brand correctly and do like brand marketing and everything, I think you can be sustainable for
100%.
years and stuff. For Kayyo, there's a lot of things that can happen. Like I think we're too early to figure out what exactly we're gonna be. I think like the final vision is like the Apple of like combat sports, like the or like the Apple of sports, or even if like Twitch and the UFC had a baby. There's a lot of things that can happen there.
So you just mentioned the Apple of sports.
Yeah.
So something that was interesting is, so when we were in LA, I think 3 or 4 different people on different days, on different occasions, would compare them to like Jobs and Wozniak. They'd be like, yeah, he'd be like, yeah, this is Imran. He's my, CTO.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was the podcast and at the Tech Week event and a few other times. I think that's an interesting point. Like I spent the week with you guys, right?
Yeah.
And the dynamic between you and Imran is a very interesting, dynamic compared to what you would think.
Clowning on each other. Yeah.
It's like just 24/7, right? Like they I don't even know how much I can say. It just,
including Omar getting clowned too. I don't know how this guy fell for like one joke 20 times.
my guard was just down the whole trip. It's
Imran
okay
would
though.
be like one, and then Omar's like, yesterday's like, when did I ask?
Yeah, like 20 times.
This happened 20 times. I was like, bro, how do you not see this coming?
It's okay. I caught
That's
on
just-
eventually.
But he has like an oblivious personality trait to him.
I'm just like sometimes I'm just going through life at this. It depends who I'm around.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a good thing, man. That's how you stay happy. Just like, bro. He's like,
But
whatever.
he's very nonchalant isn't even the right word, but he's like very low stress, low maintenance, where it's like in his head it's like it's all good.
Yeah.
Like we're laughing with each other, not at him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Right?
We were never laughing at Omar. I like
100%,
yeah.
100%. But back to what we were saying, before the when did I ask jokes.
Yeah.
These guys are, I can't even explain it, because like I've been around a lot of my friends who, they've done the whole co-founder thing, whatever.
Yeah.
But being around you guys actually feels like I'm being around like two people that like grew up together. When did you meet him? And then what's I'll let you try to explain the dynamic and why it works.
So we met super randomly, bro. Like we met over TikTok.
Oh,
Right. We met over TikTok. And not like we met over TikTok as in we DM'd each other. This is October of 2019 or November of 2019. Pretty sure October.
Yeah.
I'm in San Luis Obispo visiting my girl and her brother. And I'm on my For You page, just like hanging out.
Yeah.
And then on my TikTok page, it comes, brothers and sisters, you have to be in line for Supreme, something, like whatever his stuff is, right?
This is a TikTok video.
Imran was making
This
TikTok
is Imran on my
videos.
For You page.
Okay.
And I'm like, this kid's kind of funny. Let me go on the rest of the stuff. And he's like, oh, dude, this is like super funny. And I'm like sending like the funny videos to my girlfriend, like, hey, like this kid's really funny.
Yeah.
And then we're both laughing at it, right? And I'm like, let me see if there's like a Twitter or something. Like, I just want to say what's up. So I found his Twitter. I DM'd him, was like, yo, bro, was watching your TikToks. Like, keep it up. Like, this is awesome, right? And that was it. I just wanted to say, like, yo, good shit.
Yeah.
Fellow brown dude, making videos.
Yeah.
I've been in that space for a long time, and I know how much, like, how much hate people can get.
Yes.
Just wanted to say, like, yo, like, keep this up, right? And he just said, hey, appreciate it, dude. Like stay up, whatever. Very casual. We just followed each other for a little bit. And then we just stayed in touch. Like, I saw what he was doing. We like randomly connected on LinkedIn. I was like, oh, this kid's an engineer, stuff like that.
Yeah.
He was working on like 5 pillars on his brand. I was doing my thing. I also like no one knew about Power Punch for a long time. Like none of my YouTube people knew about it. None of my friends knew about it. No one knew about it because I had a thing where if you start telling people too soon, you get the dopamine right away, but you don't like accomplish it.
That's why you don't tell people your goals.
Yeah. So I just like kept it chill, right?
Yeah.
I like didn't even let anyone know that like I have a brand until we hit like 1 million run rate. Like I was like, oh yeah, I have a thing, because people were like, what are you doing? Not YouTube, like not doing YouTube. And was like, where's Labib? Is he okay somewhere?
Comments are always ruthless, right?
And I'm like, dude, I'm doing amazing. Yeah. So then like Imran was like, I'm gonna be in LA soon. I was like, yo, pop, like near Ramadan. I was like, yo, pop in. This is like November of 2020. So I had an office in Burbank at the time. He came up, like met a couple homies, saw what I was doing. And he was like, oh shit, like this is like kind of legit. Like, cause he just knew me as a YouTuber, right?
Yeah.
Like he's like, oh, like this person's up to something. And then like we kept close, everything. And then like, I think 6 months forward, like in like actual like Ramadan of last year, this is such a crazy way like this actually formed. But I hit up Imran, because I was like, I'm bootstrapped Power Punch, right? So like cash flow is crazy, all this stuff. And there was like a 3-day weekend coming up where like our debits weren't gonna align with our credits. I needed like to like basically like get a quick loan for some friends, pull together so like we don't go in the negatives and like have stuff bounce. So I'm like, I shoot Imran a text. I was like, yo, by chance, you have like AK laying around. Imran was like, what the fuck do you mean? AK? Like just random.
And you guys weren't working together?
No, it's just homies.
Yeah.
But I know like,
he was the guy to hit. You just knew.
Imran or whatever. And
Yeah.
he was like, yo, like, I don't have AK laying around, but like, what's up?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, like, you know, this is like scaling hard, and it just happens to be Memorial Day, and our deposit day gets pushed back to one day, and we're like waiting on like 40K of deposits.
Yeah.
I'm just like, timing's off. So I think he was like, yo, like, what's this? Like, are you funded by anybody, any investors? I was like, no, bro, this is just me. Like, I put my whole life on this. Like, yeah. So then he came down. We started chatting more and more. He saw the progress. He was like, and then we had basically like a 3-4 month like courting process, like seeing like, all right, how do we work together? Is this gonna, like, what are the roles?
What were you working on in those 3 to 4 months?
Honestly, just like broader vision, like the technology that would be needed, like what type of raising would be like, how would we raise for this, all the type of stuff. Yeah. Like very, very broad stuff.
So how is it positioned? Because this is something that a lot of people go through, right? Like someone has an idea and they want either like a technical co-founder or they want someone to like quote unquote handle the business side. So what were you looking for?
Technical person. I wanted a technical person because I don't have engineering background.
And so like even deeper than that, like what are the, like, was it a specific skill set? Did you know what like tech stack, or like, did you want like a certain like values, ethics? Like what were you looking for in?
I went off of straight vibes. And no. Okay.
It's the most Gen Z.
No, I know.
Okay.
It's literally about like morals and ethics. Cause I had a couple way of doing it, right? Like I did like some business stuff with him to see.
Yeah.
So I had to like pay a vendor.
Okay.
And it was like, I think like 2K or whatever. So I handed Imran like a 5K check. Just wanted to see like, all right, like how's this returned? Is this smooth? Whatever. And everything was like perfect, like by the penny and shit like that. I was
wow.
oh, this dude's like really honest.
Yeah.
I didn't even ask him anything, right? Hung out with like a bunch of homies and stuff. Always like upstanding dude, amazing guy. Like I could care less about your technical skills, honestly, because that shit can be learned. It's not that difficult in my opinion.
Sure.
If you have like let's call it like the brain to absorb information and keep learning,
Right.
you can do anything you want, right? Of course, there's gonna be some people like better predisposed to it because they went to a certain program and did all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
But if you like align with me morally, ethically, always trying to learn, good character, I enjoy working with you. Like, why would I work with you? So that was my whole thing. I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna hit up some Theo fellow who did this and do that. To me, like, I'll hire those people.
Sure.
You know, get the team strong.
Right.
But if I'm gonna be working with someone from like the base foundation and they do have the technical skills already, obviously I'm not gonna get a random DJ to be my co-founder, right? But like, if that all fits, like, why not work together? And it's, you know, alhamdulillah, been going well. Like yesterday after, like tonight we have our thing, right? And I was in the car with Imran. I was like, not bad for a YouTuber and TikToker, right?
Yeah.
Because I've been hearing that shit all my life. Like, you're just a YouTuber, bro. Like, what do you mean?
I feel that.
Yeah.
I love that. And I want to, if you don't mind, just get more into the MMA aspect.
Let's get it.
Of the business.
Yeah.
But more specifically, can you talk about, you know, you're in Silicon Valley, you're looking for funding. How are they reacting to the fact that you're trying to serve this combat sports market?
Yeah.
Where a lot of people don't understand not only the market cap of it, but also who the real players are and what the potential is.
Yeah.
But also, how does that change your view when it comes to picking
100%.
the right partner and deciding, okay, who should I take money from and who's understanding my vision, and how does that impact the long-term thinking of what you're building?
Yeah. Great point. And I would say like that's like my biggest piece of advice is like, don't go after people who are gonna like write this shit off like from day one. Like you tell someone MMA like, oh, like who even does this or whatever, or like such like sometimes you even email someone and they're like, oh, we're looking after like some other thing. Like there's all these excuses. Like first is just like get someone who's down to even have a convo about this, especially in like the venture capital space, which doesn't make sense to me. It's like, obviously you're going after large markets, but you're also going after asymmetrical bets, right?
Yeah.
So why aren't you trying to like look at shit that's like emerging new and can like be massive in a couple years? Like they're like, oh no, we only do this. So that's my first lesson that I learned. Like, don't go chase after that. No point.
Interesting.
There's plenty of people out there who are gonna get it. Like we have investors from like the sports world, tech and sports world, and they got it right. One of my favorite people, they're not in this early round because we're like way too early for their stage of their fund.
Yeah.
But he's a consumer partner at a big firm in LA.
Yeah.
And like me and him text about like every fight. He's like, Labib, send me your parlay and everything.
Yeah.
So like he gets it, right? He already gets the space. So we talk about it. So definitely if you're gonna go out to pitch someone, really figure out like what type of things they invest in and if they're open to it.
Yeah.
Like get a vibe check off them if there's that type of personality. Because some people are just like, no way, Jose. Like I don't do this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then finding those investors, I would definitely tap in with like what type of community you're building in, because there's a lot of people with money in every industry, right?
Yes.
So within MMA, it's like people who are on like the professional side or the management side. They went to like a Harvard business school. They have connections who are in VC. So like start building that way. And the way I see like the product evolving with the type of investors we have on, I think right now it's like my highest familiarness, I can't talk right now, is with MMA.
Yeah.
So that's like where we want to start. I do eventually see this company becoming something for like all sports.
Yeah.
Like if we have like the right like machine learning, the data, the right tools, I think it would be like, I wouldn't say dumb, but I think there's more potential. If you already dominate one sport, MMA, boxing, combat, you have enough learning to start, scaling horizontally. So getting into like a basketball or like a football or a golf, I think there's a lot of opportunity there after you like dominate one area.
So when you were raising, this is the first startup you've ever raised for, correct?
Yeah, dude, a year and a half ago, I didn't even know what like a Series A or a seed was.
Oh, wow.
Funny.
Yeah.
Wow. And then Imran, has he raised before?
No, none of us have raised before.
Okay, so in my mind,
every single business I've done in my life has been out of my personal pocket. No funding from no one. No.
So you're spending your own personal funds
On Power Punch?
Yeah.
That was all my own money.
Wow.
I burned through, like, skin in the game. I put in $3K.
Yeah.
Scaled it up to like 1.2. I burned through all of it to learn.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I burned through all of it. If you look at, like, I can share, like, bank statements. You can see starts in the month, like, a couple $100K. I spent all of it, negative $300. Because I wanted to learn, like, what's, like, the best ad platforms. What's best this, what's best this, what's best this. Because I knew, like, this is my money.
Yeah.
I can burn it.
right.
Because I don't want to do this to an investor one day.
Right.
Right? So let me fuck up my own shit.
Yeah.
And so now thinking about it from an investor standpoint, it's like, okay, you obviously have experience in MMA.
Yeah.
You have a platform. Imran's worked on things in the past that have worked well, so he knows what he's doing from operations and tech standpoint. Did you raised with a pitch deck, obviously, right? So how much of your like storytelling around the pitch was focused around the technologies or around the MMA side, and how much of it was like around the personal story?
The story.
Right?
The story.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all story.
Especially in pre-seed, like early stage rounds.
You can have like, I think one is like your story, stuff you've accomplished, and like the vision. But I think like talking about tech and stuff too early at this stage it's not really that valuable, because it's such an early thing. Like things can change so much. Like we've changed so much in like the last like 8 months, right? So I think they're betting on you and the decisions you're gonna make versus like what product you're making, because that can transform so much.
And what do you think beyond the obvious of, okay, Imran seems to know how to operate from a technical standpoint, and you obviously know like what you're doing in the fighting space. What else do you think kind of like opened like VC's eyes where they're like, oh, this could be a good bet? Because I've watched you like at Tech Week, I watched conversations where you went from these people knowing nothing about you or knowing very little to you went through a conversation. By the end of it, they're like, I want to invest. Like, you know who I'm talking about, right?
Those people, yeah.
Yeah. So like, what do you think actually made that happen?
I think confidence is one thing.
Okay.
I think one of the things is like when you're in a cage, finding like a grown ass man as a kid, me talking to a dude if he's gonna invest 100 or 200K is not intimidating me.
Okay.
Sorry if that offends anybody. It's just not a thing. Also, my confidence comes from I know how to make money. Like I had made money before funding.
Okay.
With like no money to like good amount like revenue. So I have that confidence. So it's like, okay, yes, it would be awesome to have funding from all you guys, but God forbid everyone said, yo, like, this is not happening. I know we'll still make it.
Without funding.
Yeah, I know we'll still make it. There's a million ways how to do this thing. The thing with funding is like all right, now you have support, and like it's beyond money, right?
Okay.
You have all these like experts who can help you with like all the different areas. They can give you distribution, the tech side of things they can help you out with.
Sure.
Money is like a part of it, but it's like all these things that come with it, and of course like supplying a good life for like our engineers and all that kind of stuff. And then I think story, man. I think story is like MMA. I didn't get into it like yesterday.
Yeah.
I've been watching since like UFC pre 57, like 66, before Ortiz and Liddell. Like,
Yeah.
been watching since Pride. I was watching Shockwave as a kid, like 8 years old. So it's like, all right, this person knows. And then I think accomplishing on YouTube, then ecom, then everywhere. It's just showing a track record like, hey, I can get stuff done.
Yeah.
So now let's like think about it from like a hypothetical standpoint, right?
Yeah.
Just graduated college, or some kids like 16 years old, right?
Hypothetical? I'm asking for a friend right now.
Asking for a friend, just graduated. But it's like, let's say you haven't really done anything in the past,
Yeah.
right? What is your first go-to like advice to be like, yeah, you should go for a startup? Or in your mind, do you think everyone should go the e-com route or go like the traditional business route?
I wouldn't even say ecom, because for ecom I had a marketing agency in high school and college.
Okay.
I ran like the influencer agency, did deals with Microsoft, Amazon, NFL.
You managed an influencer agency.
I had my own. Yeah.
You had your own. Okay.
Yeah.
You're
I had
sa-
my
so
own.
you had influencers under your management?
Yeah, so I didn't manage them. I did like it was almost like a performance agency with influencers. So like instead of just straight paid ads, we did influencer stuff. So a lot of my early, like before the creator economy, I would get deals as an influencer from like General Mills or like different people, like let's
Yeah.
do stuff.
Yeah.
And then I would let them know, hey, like I have like 10 friends like me. We can do something really cool on a bigger scale.
Makes sense.
Let's do that. So I was used to that. So it can be any field. It can be anything. It could even be a lemonade stand.
Sure.
I think my thing is, I think people should learn how to do stuff without getting funded first.
Okay.
I think that creates a weird thing where you think like, well, money's going to come and I'm going to do this, I can make a mistake. I think you need your own skin. That's why I think I got so good at growth too.
Yeah.
Because a lot of agency owners, they spend client money. They say, I've spent $8 million in my career, right? Mm-hmm. They don't specify it. It's their clients' money that they're spending, their
Right.
ad budgets. All the growth that I learned from was all my own money that I spent.
Interesting.
So if you look at my Facebook ad and says burn through 300K, that's all my own money I spent. So there's a different level of pain in learning when you do that.
Makes sense.
You better learn. 'Cause
and evaluation, right?
Yeah.
In terms of personal accountability.
yeah, it's way different.
yeah.
Because I know, bro, so many of these ad agencies have 30 clients. Was like, yeah, they have some junior kid that just graduated with 10 accounts, doesn't care, flips some buttons. When it's your money, man, I would carry my laptop everywhere with me, and I would check, is CAC too high right now? Like, oh my
Yeah.
God, what are we gonna do? Like, what are we gonna do? Like all this stuff, right? It's a different thing, because if this doesn't make stuff, like, well, I can't put gas in my car next week. Like, it's simple, yeah.
Interesting.
And I want to get to before we dive back into the specific startup.
Yeah.
More back to UFC, right? But more
It's Bruce Buffer,
Bruce
yeah.
Buffer thing. Like again, I come from a sports media background, and NIL was a big thing recently. Do you know about NIL?
No.
Hit him
idea.
with it, Vishal.
But what it means is name, image, likeness, right?
Okay.
So college athletes are able to profit
I saw something
off
about
of
this.
their name. So
Yeah.
you both of you guys have been in the influencer space, but so for the longest time, college athletes weren't able to monetize
Yeah.
I
their
heard
brand,
that, yeah.
right? So, but the biggest discussion was always the colleges are taking advantage of
Big
these
time.
athletes, and colleges should pay the athletes to play.
Yeah.
So they should be paid a salary in addition to their scholarship, right? That was the biggest argument, and people were saying that colleges are mistreating. Now, what happened was NIL made it legal for Lamborghini to give the Alabama quarterback free cars and $200K. Some guys are making millions
Yeah.
off of this
Crazy money.
before even playing.
Wow.
But the discussion now has shifted. So no one is saying the colleges are taking advantage of the athletes anymore. But technically, they're not paying the athletes. They're still free.
They're still making free cash flow. Yeah.
It's still free
Yeah,
cash
yeah.
flow. So the reason I bring that up is fighter pay
Yeah.
has become a big issue in the UFC
Mm-hmm.
and MMA. So Dana White, people are criticizing, hey, you don't pay your fighters enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfair. You're taking advantage of them. And Dana White's rebuttal to that is always, well, I'm here running a business.
Mm-hmm.
We have a margin. I am paying them as a business what we feel they've earned based on, pay-per-view sales. There's a lot of things that go into it. But now where I think this needs to go is companies and tech needs to come in and help these fighters understand how they can leverage their brand,
100%.
but also how they can leverage their own skill set and passion and help companies like yours grow and thrive. So can you go a little bit more into not only the fighter pay, but how tech and how you being a non-tech person and obviously a fighter, how we can change this narrative that fighters don't make enough, but they can do other things which they probably don't even understand, and people like you can change this.
Yeah, 1,000%. Even when I got on YouTube the first time at 16, a lot of my thought behind it was this, that, hey, fighting is prize fighting, entertainment. I could be the best fighter, and we saw these guys from Dagestan that knew before, right?
Yeah.
But if no one knows you, you're not going to get paid. It doesn't matter how good you are. So, like, there's a lot of things that can be done there. I think the number one thing that needs to be done is, like, education and letting these fighters know that there's a lot of traffic and distribution coming your way that you can take advantage of, which I think is awesome. I still think at the core level, there needs to be some more done to have like just straight pay fix before we even educate, because it's like you're putting a bandage on it before even like really, curing the disease that like these people do need to get paid. Like they get hurt, taxes, fight, manager fees, all this stuff. And they're not left with much, right? So the people who end up making the most is like the most business savvy guys, like Sugar Sean O'Malley, super smart guy, where he's like on YouTube, he's doing Twitch. He knows that he has a lot of distribution coming, so make merch, all this stuff. What I want to see with like what we're doing in Kayyo is actually giving like these guys more distribution. Yeah. So a really common thing in the jiu-jitsu scene or even MMA scene now and kickboxing and Muay Thai is these guys kind of go on like a world tour and do like different type of seminars for everyone. And they end up like basically breaking even because it's like all the travel and stuff. It's more of a marketing play. So I'd love to have like those type of fighters, like, come to our studio in LA. We fly them out and they like teach a whole, kickboxing 101. Like Izzy shows something that he does in his fights. Yeah. Our computer vision model scans them and now you can like fight like Izzy within Kayyo and stuff like that. Yeah. So they can like get a revenue share or a cut from us, but now they have like worldwide distribution to like millions and millions and millions of people on the app that want to be like them. So I think there's so much opportunity in tech where we can go beyond just like, the viewers that watch them on the fights. I think technology will set them free.
Yes. Okay. I love that. That's a great answer.
Because a lot of the guys we work with, they made money from our like, either revenue share, affiliate links, stuff like that. And their thing was always like, yo, like how can we work together? Like how can I get on this, whatever. And I would love to have like, maybe a fighter who's like, 2-0, 3-0 in the UFC, trying to look for more fans and distribution, tell them, hey, come on our app. Like, we're going to do a whole, like, scan of you doing all this, like, fighting. And then we're going to have people fight like you in our app. Yeah. And now everyone's like, hey, I want to be like X person. Sure. Make them superstars.
Yeah.
I guess when I most of that makes sense to me, right? And now I'm thinking about it from like an actual execution standpoint.
Yeah.
Do you have any, like, well, I guess to even backtrack a little bit, how big is your team right now?
Our team right now is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, soon 5 right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how many of those people are technical and how many of those people are like more growth, operations, whatever?
2 non-technical, 4 technical. Yeah.
Gotcha. And so you've kept it pretty lean then from like a spend perspective, from a team perspective. I guess number one, why? Obviously, like there are a plethora of reasons why you want to keep your team small, but what were those reasons for you?
Well, I never want the team to be like overstaffed to where people like who are working feel like their work is not valuable. I think that's the easiest way to kill like morale on a team.
Sure.
Like you have 20 people doing random shit.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, yo, like what's the point of this? I feel like I'm just here to be like part of this like metric of headcount to impress the investors.
Sure.
When I'm not doing anything, I rather have like people feel like ownership and like doing like a bunch of stuff where they're like, I'm having so much fun. Like we have some engineers right now who are like even hitting us up on the weekend, like, yo, thought of this idea, because like they're so in it and like they have like ownership, right? Like no one's like telling them to do what to do. They don't have to go through like 3 people to be like, oh, did this person say okay? Did that person say okay? Where we have like all these blockers. So that's one of the things from a business standpoint, like we want to keep burn low.
Yeah.
There's no point of having like 15 people and like burn through a bunch of money and then, you know, be in a bad position. Like we want to be smart. Like there's no point of like we have our like metrics that, okay, once we start approaching this, have 3 people in the pipeline to be hired.
Sure.
When that's, you know, about to happen.
Right.
So we're prepared for that. But right now it's like, how do we go up there smoothly?
Gotcha. And then you're the CEO and you're non-technical. Mm-hmm. That's a position that a lot of people are in. Mm-hmm. How did you go about actually building out the technical team?
So the biggest thing on the technical side was I started doing research, and a lot of I learned from Imran was like, okay, like the technologies that need to be used for this, especially for building product. How does this, not even scaling, but how does this look when this use case happens, all those things, and exploring all that. And then basically when we had like engineers start applying, like, you know, our iOS, backend engineers, all that kind of stuff. We wanted to start seeing like more than just like from a technical perspective, like they can execute on that. The biggest thing was ability to learn. And within like the technical space, when the team's small and even like, you know, we're early in our career too, technically, like 24, 25. It's like, well, sometimes there might be something where we don't know what to do either.
Sure.
What do you do in that case? So we figured out like, okay, like these people are resourceful. They're going to go on like ask people, do stuff like that. They're not going to sit around and say, hey, like, I don't know. Like we're going to do our best too to figure that out.
Right.
But we wanted to see like what people can do on their end. And I think I've shared it with you before, like the whole hiring scale that I have.
Yeah.
I got it from Outer. It's like it's part of our behavioral interview. It's basically, is the person fitting the ABCDE, which is basically, are they authentic, benevolent, curious, determined, and ego-free? And if you hit all those things, you're welcome to Kayyo. Wow. And it doesn't matter like if you don't know the skills yet, because I'm a YouTuber like from 6 years ago and I'm doing this now. So again, I have no right to tell someone they can't do something. Yeah. As long as I think if you have like those type of qualities, you can learn.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have something, I guess, unrelated to that, but it's like, I want to tell me more about your fighting career, but more importantly, like, tell me, like, probably the first time you just got your butt kicked and you were like, oh, this is like a different thing.
Oh, yeah. So my MMA record is 11-4 MMA.
Wow.
Amateur though. I was, inshallah, like I want to make the full transition. It was supposed to happen in 2020. My last fight was February 2020 for USA boxing. So I wanted to get fights in MMA, boxing, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, like all the places before you go pro, because once you go pro, you can't do like amateur boxing, right? You have to do pro boxing now, and that's a different level if you're an MMA fighter. So I wanted to do all that, get that wrapped up. Then COVID happened. But my very first fight ever that I had was out when I was 16. I fought in Fresno, California, at like Pac.
Is that Diaz Brothers?
They're
Fresno,
Stockton.
right?
They're Stockton.
Oh, Stockton.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But Fresno is like Central California, a lot of farming, a lot of wrestlers and stuff. And they had a Muay Thai promotion called Pac something. It was called like Punch and Kick. It was like well known. They had some ISK champions from there and stuff like that too. I was 16. I made my Muay Thai, you can't fight MMA before 18.
Yeah.
You can do pancration, but I was like, I want to fight Muay Thai.
Yeah.
I was training with Benny Urquidez. He's like a 53-0 kickboxing world champion. He did this fight choreography for Spider-Man. So he was my kickboxing coach, all that shit. I was like, let's go. So I fought there, full Muay Thai rules, except amateur, so there's no knees and elbows to the face, but knees and elbows are allowed everywhere else. Yeah. I was 16, fought Eric Foray, remember his name to this day. I was 16, he was 28. Wow. And he beat
That's legal?
Yeah, yeah. In boxing and Muay Thai kickboxing for IKF, 16 and up is adult. And I did not know I was getting paired up with an adult.
Yeah.
I thought he's probably gonna be 16, 17. Right?
Yeah.
But bro,
that's a whole man right there.
Oh, he's grown ass man. I'll send a picture.
Yeah.
This bro had lats and like abs and everything. Like And I'm like 16-year-old kid.
Guy's got a family and kids.
Oh,
and
bro,
he's
this is
coming
gonna
in.
sound so ridiculous. Like
Whole 4-bedroom house.
I was like, I would handle my own, right? In the gym too, with
Yeah,
like
yeah,
guys
yeah.
who were pros already.
Right.
But there's a big difference between training hard and a fight.
Yeah, that's
Very big
exactly
difference.
what I
Because you're
wanted.
trying
Yeah.
to kill each
Yeah.
other in a fight, basically.
Because even in sparring, you can go as hard as you can. Your body will still only go 90. There's no such thing as 100 in sparring. Because once you're fighting for real, your body taps in a different mode because you know you're going to get killed, right?
Yeah.
It switches. It never goes to 100.
Yeah.
So we would go hard in practice with like grown-ass men, like where they like fracture my nose and everything.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I'm good to go.
Yeah.
But then when you fight for real, man, I remember we had Rex. He's a famous Thai judge, a referee who just passed away recently, but he's like legendary. He was a judge for my fight, and in my head, I'm like, man, I've seen this guy on TV.
Yeah.
So he's like in my corner and his corner. I walked to the day I made my debut fight was the same day Anderson Silva got knocked out by Chris Weidman.
No way.
And I walked out to his Ain't No Sunshine from DMX.
Really?
Yes, because I was a massive fan. And my mommy was
Wow.
even saying when I was walking out,
Yeah.
people were saying, "Oh, he's walking out to Ain't No Sunshine by DMX. That's sick. Like this kid must
That's
know."
crazy.
And it was the same night he got knocked out.
Ooh.
And just for context, Anderson Silva's
One of the goats.
one of the GOATs, but he had the longest
Streak.
title
Yeah.
defense streak.
And it still has been broken.
So
wow.
this knockout, and I remember watching the fight, but it was
Yeah.
probably and I watch every sport
Yeah,
like
sure.
very religiously. Probably the top 3 most
Shocking thing, yeah.
most unexpected knockout.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
watch Anderson get knocked
Yeah.
out in that capacity
Wow.
was one of the most shocking things
Yeah,
I've ever
yeah,
seen.
yeah.
And you walked out to his song?
Yep. Yeah.
Is that why he got knocked out?
Maybe.
Okay.
Hey, maybe, dude. I don't know. Maybe.
Okay.
No, but I'm telling you, like, even in the training at gyms and stuff, like, I would hold my own with 30-plus-year-old dudes, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I was like wrapping up dudes who were like 4 or 5-0 pro already, fighting for like WCK and NFA at like 15, 16.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, like even the dude I fought at 20, I dropped him twice. One with the right hand, one with the left knee to the body.
Wow.
But when I walked out, and the first time he push kicked me in the chest,
Yeah.
I was like, I fucked up. And dude, I was talking so much shit before.
Yeah.
Not to him, but telling my coaches like, I'm gonna fuck this dude in front of his kids, his wife, everything.
So
right?
this is after ring walk. So you ring walked, and then you saw him,
Yeah.
and then you were telling
Not him. I was
no,
telling my
your
coaches
coach,
before.
right? Before.
Yeah, I was telling
yeah.
them. When I saw my weigh-ins, I even at weigh-ins, I was like,
Okay, at weigh-ins,
even
you
at
were
weigh-ins, I was
totally
like,
confident.
I was weighing. I was like, I'm gonna like smash this dude.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit, right?
Yeah.
Like whatever. I didn't feel any fear walking in at all.
Yeah.
No fear at all.
Yeah.
You didn't see him like big and everything. I was like, who are you?
You got it.
I don't
Yeah.
care. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, when I went out, I came at him first. So I started because Muay Thai they don't have good boxing, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I have good hands.
Uh-huh.
So I started like catching him. But he was just so strong.
Yeah.
I still till this day don't think he has better technique than me.
Yeah.
He was so strong. Like I remember he clinched me, and I tried to get out and I couldn't. He was for a man. He just
Yeah.
busted my body up. Like
Yeah.
I'll show you a picture. I had bruised ribs and everything.
Yeah.
I couldn't even eat after the fight.
Wow.
Yeah, they stopped it in the second because I couldn't like get out of his
Stoppage.
clinch.
So
yeah, stoppage.
he
TKO.
submit-
TKO. Yeah,
TKO.
yeah,
Okay.
TKO.
Yeah.
Like he had me in the clinch and just kept battering me.
Yeah.
And I'm like trying to like just push him away.
Yeah.
But and even the ref was like, "Yo, this kid's too young." Like.
Yeah.
Like he's like
Call
calls
it.
it off. Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
28-year-old dude just like battering a
Yeah,
16-year-old.
battering me, and I was like trying to tell him to. I never like, and it was
That's battery.
It was
That's battery and assault.
Yeah.
Right there.
It was strikes to the body too. It wasn't even like headshots or anything.
Yeah.
I was chilling up there, but he was just like. I'll show you the photos. My whole sides are red.
Yeah.
I couldn't eat afterwards because I got kneed in the stomach so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, and I was literally crying in the ring.
Wow.
Because I was so upset.
Yeah.
I can't. I felt like a dream. I was like, I can't believe I just lost. I was like,
No, I remember
yeah.
the only reason I wanted to bring that up is there's a UFC gym
Yeah.
in Rosemead where I went to college, and my buddy was sparring training MMA.
Yeah.
But we love watching MMA. So I was like, oh, this would be fun to go train and spar. Like I was a strong guy. Like
Yeah.
I was powerlifting. I can deadlift 600-700 pounds, bench press like 300-400 pounds. So I was like, oh, fighting's like this should translate to
Yeah.
strength, right? And we go to the gym. We put on the gloves, right? And we're in the octagon, And I come out and he's like, let's spar. And he's like, can we do everything? Like hands,
Feet,
legs.
yeah.
I was like, sure. I was like, how hard could it be? Like, I'm bigger than you.
Yeah.
Like, let's do it. Like, touch gloves. I do like the John Jones thing.
Yeah.
Like, hold the thing,
Yeah.
crawl, walk out. 5 seconds in, he kicks me in the head and I black out. I'm out. I'm out cold.
That was a homie?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I don't know if that's safe.
But I
I don't know if that's a homie.
I don't think he knew what he was. So
he didn't know his
wasn't-
own power.
Yeah, he didn't really fight either.
Yeah, okay,
So
okay.
we were just messing around. And it's like he threw that kick, I think, just messing around. And I had no idea it was coming. So I had no idea how to defend. I'd never fought.
Yeah.
But he connected like right on like probably my temple. And I was out. Like I was out. I didn't know where I was when I woke up.
Damn.
Yeah. But it's like that's just a like I feel like for people who don't fight, and I'm sure a lot of people that are gonna listen to this don't fight. It's just
their
like
move, yeah.
like if you're a fighter, there's just appreciate the skills it teaches you, but also there's a huge difference between training for something and then going in and
It's very
actually
different.
fighting
Very
someone
different,
are
very
two
different.
completely different things in a competition.
Yeah, to me, it's like if you haven't competed, it's like I rarely take those people's like advice or anything with like any importance.
Yeah.
It's like a person who like reads the book whenever like starts to come like it's the same thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
It's just talking in theoretics.
Yeah.
And there's that happened a lot too at like the MMA gyms or jiu-jitsu gyms. Like
Yeah.
there would be always like these dudes who like talking philosophy and shit.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, if you get this leg lock and whatever, and I'm like, bro, in a fight, I'm just gonna smash your face.
Yeah,
I'm gonna drop
yeah.
2 right hands, and you're gonna go from brown belt to purple belt to blue belt to white belt after
Yeah.
every punch I land, right?
Yeah.
That's a thing. So it's like, and every time you fight, you gain so much experience because like,
Would you consider everyone to train, like, as in, like, you know, you're a tech founder, whatever it is, from like, and Omar, you were talking about this from a confidence standpoint, right? And you were asking him like, how does he pitch so well, you know, go to investors being a non-tech founder and have that confidence? Like, would you tell, even if you have no exercise or like training background, just to try it out from like a confidence level? Like, how important is that? No matter what you do, if you're a founder or a leader, like what skills could you develop?
yeah, I think just doing, I think the umbrella around this is like just doing difficult things that challenge you.
Yeah.
And I think like a physical thing is challenging for most, especially something like, I think fighting is more challenging, like from a 360 perspective than other sports, because yes, basketball, you have to have your head in the game so you make the shot and everything, right?
Yeah.
But like you messing up is not as bad as if you mess up in fighting. If you mess up in fighting, it's like,
You say because you get hurt.
yeah, because I've never been knocked out before, but I've been choked out before in a tournament, like put to sleep, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I messed up. The blood stopped going to my brain.
Sure.
I'm asleep. So
Yeah.
like you get confidence when you know that you can defend, you can do that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even I think for pitching, like doing YouTube, being a kid, 16, unscripted show, it's improv.
Yeah.
Of like millions of people are watching and talking shit. I'm used to it.
Yeah.
It's like cool. Like I'm just speaking to people. So I think just doing and I'm sure even doing YouTube, I was confident in talking because I did that hard thing before.
Sure.
So it's like just do like hard things over and over and over,
Interesting.
and it's
Yeah.
like okay, like I have some level of confidence now. Yeah. When you start boxing, Omar?
So first, I downloaded the Kayyo app and I use that
Sick.
for a little.
Let's go.
How
Let's
long
go.
do I have to use the Kayyo app before I'm ready to get into a gym?
I would say at least like 3-4 months.
3-4 months?
3-4 months.
Every
yeah.
single day, like consistently? Or two times a week? Or
every day for 50 minutes a day. Yeah.
every day for 15 minutes a day for 4 months?
Yeah.
From a user perspective, how many people do you
I'm
think?
kidding. I'm kidding.
Okay,
This
I
is
was going to
so
say.
our retention looks
Yeah,
real
he's
nice.
hitting. I knew exactly what he was doing when he said it.
5 times.
He's like just reading out like what their ideal retention numbers need to be.
No, I think anyone can get into the gym today.
Okay.
We're like, the reason we're building it's not because we think the gym is wrong.
Okay.
We just think it's wrong for some people.
Sure.
Like some people can't go to a MMA gym because they're intimidated and all these other factors, right? That's why it's there. I went to the gym the first day myself. Like you can do it, but we can assist if that is not able to be done yet, whether it's from a socioeconomic standpoint, a confidence standpoint, geolocation standpoint, time standpoint, right? All those things. But if you wanted to go to a jiu-jitsu gym today, like they know how to get you started with no experience. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then I briefly mentioned this very early on, but I want to kind of come back to it. The tech behind like the actual app itself started off as hardware and now it's all like computer vision. How is it that my phone camera, if I prop it up and I start punching, how is it that translates to, you know, me being able to feel more confident, better at punching, et cetera, et cetera?
Mm-hmm. So we can start from like just the like competition standpoint, right?
Sure.
So say like right now you're watching yourself on the camera. Day one, you're slow. You only do like 10 punches in like however many seconds.
Sure.
It's like, oh, I need to get better. I need to get more fit. Day two happens. You beat your last, you know, threshold. I'm getting better. Third day, getting better. Fourth day, getting better. Now you have a global leaderboard where you're seeing your friends do it. You're getting better. There's a social aspect where you can share the videos. People are hyping you up saying, Omar, man, like I've seen you be consistent the last 4 days. Those hands looking nice. Getting confident, getting that feedback. I think there's a plethora of things that go into it. Even moving around, like watching our videos and like matching all the right moves and scores. And there's a professional guy teaching you who like trained at the UFC PI, and he's like motivating you and saying, wow, awesome job, Omar. Like,
sure.
I think that elevates it.
And then I guess I'm curious because one of the things I tried working on very early on was a social app. So you're mentioning these like social aspects of like people seeing what I'm doing and kind of, you know, hyping me up or whatever. What is your tipping point from a user number standpoint where that social graph actually gets filled out or that actually starts to work?
Like it's like essentially PMF?
Sure. But like from just for the social feature.
Social feature. I think it's not a number of people. It's a number of actions. So that doesn't matter if it's 2,000, 3,000 people. I think the first indication is going to be like a chain. We saw one person send to one person, then that person sent to someone else, and that person sent to someone else.
So with Facebook, it was you get onto the app and then their number one goal for growth was to get you to 14 friends as soon as possible, or like 50 friends in 14 days, or there was some number around that.
Referrals, like you're going to organically send it to 14.
You need to have that many friends on the app. Like very early on in the Facebook days, that was the number.
It's interesting.
But you're sent, like, what do you mean you have to have that many friends on the app?
That just because back then it wasn't like you're sending reels to each other. You just have friends on the app that you're like updating and seeing what they're like liking and whatnot.
Oh, you're saying 14 was a number of like, we got you on this platform now.
I think it was 14.
Okay,
yeah.
I got it.
And so for you, let's say now I'm on the app. How many friends do I need for it to be like, okay, now the cycle actually works and I'm coming back every few days?
Let's say each person brings on 5 people like in the first 2 weeks.
Each person brings on 5 people?
Yeah, so they build like that web.
So if I come on myself, you and Imran are already on it. So does that mean I only have to bring 3 people or I have to bring 5 more
5
people?
fresh. Yeah,
5 fresh.
So say like you used it, now you hit up like Karan or something.
Okay.
Vishal's not using it. Like you let's do it in an easier way to explain it. I want you and your whole group chat to be doing it within 2 weeks.
Okay, great. That's simple enough for me to understand.
Yeah.
What is my incentive to ask my group chat to come on the app? I'm thinking about it from like an early stage cold start problem, you know.
1 second, let's my eyelash. My eyelash is long. From incentivized, I think being able to do something that your friends enjoy, an activity.
Sure.
I think that's the biggest thing that is going to be like the benefit. If I can offer you $10, $20, I think that's only going to last so long. But the fact that you now have an activity that you and your friends are like love to do, I think that's going to be the biggest like plus that I can give you and your like small community.
And then obviously there's the whole thing of like early adopting users are very different from mature product users. Yeah. Where is that difference? So is like, are early adopters people who are already into MMA, or are those people who just like trying out, you know, they're always on Hacker News and they want to get more fit? Like what are you thinking about from like, what is your early like adopting user look like?
I think the early adopters is going to depend a lot on where we do distribution in the beginning. So if we go on like Product Hunt or like Hacker News or like, you know, On Deck Discord or F. in Discord, I think the early adopters are going to like change, and like the people who are going to change, right? What I'm thinking and what our plan is already for GTM is going after specific people who already go to like a Rumble or they have some experience with the space. Maybe not as tech, you know, they're not heavy involved there, but most of the world isn't. That's why we can't be in that bubble. We can't expect only engineers to use this, right? Because we're not a B2B solution, right?
Sure.
We're looking at people like a random kid walking down, you know, Haight Ashbury up there in SF that they just end up using it. So in the beginning, it's going to be people who have some familiarity with, you know, Rumble or like cardio kickboxing and expanding within that route.
And so in the early stages, are you like targeting like, maybe not right now, but in the earlier stages of user acquisition, are you targeting these like Rumbles and like these events, or are you running paid? Are you influencers? Like where are your early users coming from?
So getting early users so if we break so early testing, just like how the app works and everything, has primarily been like friends and email lists and stuff like that. But to hit the actual like Rumble archetype that we want, we work directly with local gyms in LA. So we work with 3 gyms in LA who already have a holding on those type of people. And that's how we tell people to use things.
I remember I think this was, when did I come over in Cupertino? When was the Cupertino? Like, when did that end?
It was Jan to April.
Okay. So somewhere in that range, I remember you were like aggressively doing door-to-door sales on gyms.
Yes.
What was that? What happened to it?
So we
what was
still
that
have
like?
Very fun, very challenging too, because a lot of the people in those gyms are like boomers and they have no like tech understanding.
Sure.
So going to them, explaining to it, it went really well. Like we have a bunch of LOIs from those people. I think about 3 or 4 now. And they were primarily with the hardware. So we'll see what happens with that. But I still think there's going to be room for them to use our software only, especially like the whole pitch to them was, look, this is a solution for you to solve your problem of churning, right? People don't come to the gym for maybe a week or 2. They get demotivated. They're like, hey, like I'm out of the loop. I'm not going to feel good when I go back in. So they just like churn and end up not coming back. So we want to solve that for them. I think that can still be solved with software and not hardware. Like you don't need hardware only. You can also have software to do that. So I think, there's like all those people there, around like 600 to 700 people from those gyms that are like, yo, like when is this going to drop?
And then before it was pretty obvious, if you have a hardware product, your business model like revolves around
hardware SaaS,
margins, right? Are you a subscription now?
We had subscription with the hardware too.
Okay.
It's a hardware plus subscription.
Okay.
But now just straight subscription, since we're not going to do hardware for like the foreseeable future until I see the need for it. Like I saw the need for it from like the pro fighter standpoint, like the MMA obsessed people. Right now, I don't think it needs to be there yet.
And how did you decide on your business model?
I don't know. I think the answer everyone's looking for, like I read a book, did some research, whatever. This made sense.
So we, Vishal and I went to an event last night. Corey was putting it on at the Signal Fire office, and the Do Not Pay guy was there, right? I told you about it, right? And he had a really interesting point, because I think his story is he started working on Do Not Pay as like a side project, like solving a personal problem in his first weeks at Stanford, like first 3 weeks. And he pitched Andreessen because he like blew up on Reddit, or like he got a news article or something that like really put them on the map.
So what he says, he did all the Sand Hill Road guys, right?
Yeah.
And he got no yeses.
No yeses from the Sandhill guys, and then Andreessen and him put together a deal.
So how it happened was one of the Andreessen guys used Do Not Pay to get out of a
parking ticket.
So he sent it to Andreessen.
Yeah.
Right, and then Andreessen messaged the Do Not Pay founder. Joshua, he was like, let's grab breakfast, and then you can tell the rest.
And then they grabbed breakfast, and apparently they came together with some deal where he didn't actually drop out of Stanford. So he stayed in Stanford, completed his degree.
Yeah.
So he stayed there for an additional 3 years.
Wow.
And his whole thing around that was go slow at the very beginning, right? Like, and you were talking about this earlier. Once you get VC money, it feels like you're just spending all of it on paid ads, or not really being as frugal as you can.
It's not intentional,
Right.
Boulders.
And yes, Boulders plug.
But the craziest part about that story was, I think they were Series B. They took 30 million. They have 15 employees.
15
total
employees.
Total.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like that. I don't think you need to, especially on like coming from an e-com side, I get why there's so many employees, because there's literal moving parts that you need manpower for, or woman power for. But for software, it's like, of course you still need it. You still need it. There's a lot of stuff going on from what I've learned. I've seen all the stuff going on. But I think a lot of the overhiring also happened just to like show your investor like, hey, we're growing.
That's the problem, because he was saying like, oh, you hire a great product manager and he can't wait to build a product team.
And then the person they hire is like, I'm going to build the best sub-product team ever.
It's literally that. It's literally that. I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen.
And so the reason I kind of brought that up in the first place was he talked about, like, they have an insane margin, right? I forget what their number. I don't know if we can actually say what number it was.
I don't know if we can say it.
But it was
like you guys signed NDAs or what?
No, it's just that, a lot of times when they talk at these events, they're not expecting people to go blast it on a podcast.
Yeah.
But it's like really good margins, really good like ratio. And he was talking about like how he came across like the subscription service. he started off with a subscription service and then did everything, taking a percentage, this, that, and then they ended up on the subscription service. So his thing is like, oh, the subscription service is like the de facto, like one of the best, like business models.
Yeah.
And so
I think there's a lot of ways to think about it. Like if we were like a fintech product, we would think about like, okay, you know, percentage, like processing fees and stuff like that, like treasury fees, like management fees. If we did like enterprise sales, there's like a, you know, year contract. Like I studied stuff like Verkada, a hardware plus software company.
Sure.
I studied them too, how to do enterprise contracts for a consumer company. If you can sell like a 5-year thing with the person up front, have all that cash sitting up with ARR for years to come.
Yeah.
So I explored a lot of things. They didn't really say like, oh, I'm gonna read this book and figure this out. I just looked at a lot of examples. Also, hardware had really excellent margins. There's not an issue in hardware with margins. It's more of a cash flow issue. You have to you have to put your CFO hat on for that one. You have to understand like negative cash cycles and all those type of things to like maximize like money coming in. How much do you have sitting at a 3PL because 3PLs are expensive? That's how Peloton burned through a bunch of money. There's like a lot of things you have to look at on that side.
What's the Peloton thing? Can you?
So Peloton had, I mean, there's a lot of things too where like they like gated their.
It sounds like you've studied it.
Yes, I studied them a lot.
Yeah.
So one of their big things is just like the demand curve went down, obviously, right? People are going out now.
Pandemic's over.
Yeah, pandemic's over. I think at-home fitness makes no sense to me.
Okay.
Any specific location fitness does not make sense to me.
Yeah.
Because a human is not fixed; they move, right? That's kind of been my thinking. That's what when I saw like our hardware versus Peloton and stuff, it's like this is how we win. But with them though, like they were just growing so fast, right? Like at one point, what they were like at a 40 billion market cap or something.
Yeah.
So they have so much cash, and they're like, you know what, like this demand's gonna keep on going forever.
Yeah.
So you now have this like, you have tons of hardware that's white glove delivery, aka like it's not FedEx or something. Peloton has their own last mile carriers.
Oh wow.
Where they come in and they install it for you.
Wow.
That's a shit ton of money being burned.
Yeah.
Right? And now with the demand dropping, now you have all these 3PLs that are charging by like square unit, time of the year, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And you're burning through a bunch of money there too. So there's a lot of factors in hardware, e-com, DDC that you have to manage to it. And I've made tons of mistakes too. Like I fucked up at Power Punch where like we were at a 3PL and like stuff was sitting and I didn't move it in time. I like burned 12K on accident.
Oh.
Like have to order stuff from overseas and I didn't do my forecasting right. So I have to do air freight. I have to pay 24K versus 3K. Like there's so much stuff you learn in that space. Yeah. From operating.
Interesting.
Bro, so Peloton, just for background.
Yeah.
At the end of 2020, the stock was trading at $150.
Yeah.
It's currently trading at $11.
Yeah.
$11.20. So now their market cap now is
like
3.78, right? 4 billion. What I mean, it was 40, 45 probably.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all about in tech. I think another interesting thing is like the zeitgeist. Like Darcy Cooligan from former A16, he has this whole talk about like product zeitgeist fit. And it's like what makes sense for the moment. Like Peloton made sense for the moment. Could have been a small moment. But right now, I think when we're not in a pandemic era, not in a pre-pandemic era anymore, now we're in like this new era. I think the zeitgeist is for like a reinvented gym, a reinvented coach.
Right.
I also think MMA is in a space where it's dominating like news streams, sports, fitness, meme pages, like all the stuff that happens, like they're making jokes. TMZ's on about it.
Yeah.
It's emerging in like every country. The UFC currently has like, I think at least one, they have at least one champion from each inhabitable continent, right? Wow. It's very rare for a sport to do. So there's a lot of at-bats we can do to get this right.
Gotcha. We had some segments that we wanted to run.
Let's do it.
It's all you.
I guess this is a good one to start because we were talking about that. But one segment we wanted to do was, so I'll read you 3 company descriptions, right?
Okay.
And they'll be in relatively like your space, right?
Okay.
So like fitness, wearable tech.
Okay.
And you tell me which one you think is the most valuable company.
Okay.
Does that
Like
make sense?
from my personal opinion,
From
valuable?
valuation standpoint.
or like actual like
Valuation.
public stock?
Valuation,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Valuation. So here, let's go. So it's an American consumer electronics and fitness company specializing in wireless enabled wearable tech.
Wireless. Okay.
So wireless enabled wearable tech. That's probably what you should take care of. Remember
That's the
from
first
that.
one.
That's the first one.
They know them already.
Okay. Second one, an internet connected exercise equipment and media company. Okay.
Internet, so IoT.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's the second one. Third one, American franchisor and operator of fitness centers.
The third one, highest valuation.
I think he's right.
Planet Fitness, probably.
Yeah, he's right. You got it.
Yeah.
Planet Fitness. Yeah.
The first one was what? Whoop.
The first one was Fitbit.
Fitbit. Okay, so
Fitbit.
similar.
Same,
Okay.
same,
Fitbit.
similar.
And what second was
Peloton.
Peloton? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So in valuations, he was right.
Yeah, he was right.
yeah, Planet Fitness.
Well,
crushes
we don't. So Fitbit's owned by Alphabet, so I don't
Yeah.
know.
Oh, I didn't even realize they
Subsidiary,
sold.
I didn't know either. But
Yeah, I mean-
there's no way they're more valuable than.
Yeah.
Gradient.
Planet
Gradient
Fitness.
put in money to Fitbit early on. That was
Really?
in play. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's like swoop that data.
But would you guys ever
Scary.
like open gyms long term and like build the whole
Yeah.
ecosystem?
Everything,
There's
bro.
a lot of
everything.
Yeah.
things. There's my concept behind gyms. I want to do cloud gyms, like cloud kitchens.
What?
You know
What
cloud
are-
kitchens,
what are-
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing, but for gyms though.
How?
So explain that.
So,
Explain what cloud kitchens are too for
where you-
people that don't know.
So
Yeah.
basically, it's like it's drop shipping food in a way, right? It's more of an infrastructure thing. Like Mr. Beast did it.
Oh, we know that guy.
Yeah.
The YC guy that you had told me about.
Oh, hot plate.
Yeah.
It's a
Similar.
similar
so like
thing. Yeah.
like Mr. Beast, right? Like okay, he has a restaurant, this burger chain. Instead of like setting up all these restaurants, he used Buca de Beppo's back office to get the stuff done. For gyms, you can do the same thing. If like we use our hardware, that's like very light. If we do hardware, like 2-pound hardware, software, FDOT can be a cloud gym for us. Like come down to the center down there, and you and other people who are in Kayyo can like hang out and like work out together.
Interesting.
Yeah,
That's pretty dope.
yeah.
That's pretty dope.
That's what the Uber guy's doing now. Kalanick.
He's doing what?
Ghost Kitchens.
Yeah.
So he's a CEO of the parent company of Cloud Kitchens.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he's saying.
Yeah, so ghost gyms. I also believe there's a play for us for an actual league. Like, but the people we'll have in our league are the people who came from the actual software, building the UFC, but in reverse. So I think like the way you have super fans for a sport is creating participants.
Yeah.
And it's really tough to do that for the UFC right now. I know they're
Yeah.
trying that with the UFC gym. They're actually opening one new UFC gym every week for the next 3 years because so much demand.
Yeah.
But I still think there's like this like stigma behind like I have to be like tough, buff, badass to be this.
Yeah.
Versus like, oh, I'm a participant. I can do this like if it was like AYSO soccer or something.
Okay.
So we're trying to build it reverse, like trickle up versus trickle down. So yeah, there's a lot of things I think we're gonna have. There's like a long vision, but you're just trying to focus on seed stage right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I got, and we can, if you want, I had an idea I
Okay.
wanted to pitch.
Okay.
Which
I don't know about
and,
this.
and I'm sure it's been pitched before, but now that you talked about how you were like 275 pounds,
Yeah.
this might be somewhat applicable. But I was thinking, why don't we have like, can we make like a wearable tech thing where it's like, if you're just like a fat kid eating a bunch of stuff, can your body like detect, oh, like calorically you're over a certain point, and maybe it either shocks you.
Oh Jesus! All right. Oh, okay. I'm not affiliated with this.
I have nothing to do with this.
It numbs your body, or no, it numbs your
It
taste
just
buds.
kills you like on the spot.
It numbs your taste buds.
It numbs your taste
Okay,
buds.
okay,
See,
okay,
and
okay,
now
that makes more sense.
I reacted
Yeah.
really badly
Yeah.
when you guys reacted badly.
The whole
So I was
shocking
like,
thing. I was like, wait, is
Wait,
that
like
a
it
dog
just
collar?
Yeah.
it's like I'm at Sequoia right now, and I'm just changing the pitch.
Yeah.
Wait.
Actually, it's a
Numbing.
social app.
Yeah.
Or maybe we put it on the kid's tongue, and it connects.
Go back
I
to the
don't know.
social app.
Okay, it's interesting. Maybe if like it's like something like a Listerine strip, they put on your tongue,
Yeah.
and somehow it activates when you go over your daily caloric limit.
That's amazing. Can we do that?
Probably have to deal with the FDA or something. But I wish I had that when I was a kid.
I feel like
That
we're in
would've-
that Silicon Valley episode where
It
he
would have
pitches
helped.
him,
It would have helped
where
me.
it's like you can think something and your phone can just look it up.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, what's the go-to-market? And then the dude's like, well, I think this will be in our grandchildren's lifetime.
Yeah.
Like,
No, dude, if that was a thing back in the day, man, I needed that.
that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to help kids.
It sounded like
So-
you're trying to hurt them with that whole shock thing. I'm not gonna lie.
The shock thing,
You,
it's
you
a
gotta
little,
hurt
yeah.
to help, right? You gotta feel pain. What do they call it? No pain, no gain.
Or are they getting too much?
Oh, they're getting too much. So
Interesting.
that's our tagline now.
Pain.
I don't know who R is. Like,
Yeah.
good luck with that one. I'm gonna leave you to that.
Oh, you speak French now? All of a sudden?
We're not business partners anymore.
Yeah,
not,
no,
not on this one. This,
that's all you, bro.
Me and
Solo.
Labib will
That's
take it.
all you
Oh,
guys.
all
That's
right,
all
I'll
you.
do the numbing one. I don't know about the shocking factor. The shocking one, we might have to deal
See,
with.
now Labib even regrets raising for this company.
Personally,
We could have raised for the Listerine thing.
We'll pull Adam Newman flew the flow first, and then he did another one, right? 70 million first and
yeah,
250
just
later.
put it on the blockchain.
Yeah, blockchain.
But it's not even a blockchain company.
Everything's a blockchain company if you pitch it right.
Yeah, that's what everyone told me. Like, yo, tell us like what's the metaverse.
Wait, I got it. So the kid, if you hit a certain like milestone, you get a Bitcoin. You like get cryptocurrency.
I'm good. I'm
So
out.
it's high cap
You
right
got-
there.
I'm done.
That's
Are
high
we
cap
done?
right
We're
there.
done
We're
here.
done. We're calling a whole Bitcoin.
Or some, I don't know. It's like tasty. The kid's like, oh, Bitcoin. That seems like it tastes good.
Oh, it could. I mean, it's like move to earn, but with crypto.
yeah. So some way to incorporate. I'm trying to balloon this valuation.
Yeah, move to
Okay.
earn. Move to earn.
Okay.
Lose to
this
earn.
is-
lose to earn.
Lose to earn.
Yeah.
How would Andreessen not put 50 million in this?
Andreessen would probably put 50.
Tell me
million,
how
I think.
Andreessen
Lose
doesn't put
pounds,
50.
gain dough.
Lose pounds, gain dough. Someone write that down. I have the laptop. I should write that down.
Yeah.
Lose pounds, gain dough.
Steppen was big too. You know,
Can
Steppen
we
was
trademark
huge.
that? We should trademark.
pounds.
Again,
Yeah.
who is we? This is all you.
He's loving it.
this is entertaining.
Were you loving it, Labib?
I think there's a way to spin anything the right way.
The Listerine
Yeah.
strip is.
I think
that's a
that could
great
actually
idea.
work because like I don't know the science behind it, but like from an idea standpoint, like it would be cool if like you put something on and then eventually like it's food just starts.
Bro, I don't
tasting-
even wear my retainers. I don't know how you're gonna how you're gonna expect kids to like.
No, but you brush your teeth.
Yeah, bro.
As a kid,
Unless
right?
Oh.
It's different. Like it's like chewing gum.
yeah, if you put it like a Listerine strip and okay, like when you're eating food, right? Like the best part, it tastes good,
Sure.
right? Once you get full, beyond that, just taste, right?
Yeah.
If there was something there, while like my body knows, hey, I'm not trying to undereat. Like I actually got all my nutritional like sustenance.
Yeah.
And it told me like, hey, I'm good to go now, bro. That would have been so helpful.
Honestly.
It doesn't even need to be for kids.
Because those
now.
hot cheese, I would use it for a fight. Like I'm cutting weight, I'm gonna use
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Because like right now, it's like yo, hot Cheetos are so good, I don't want to stop. But if a
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
told me,
But if you can't taste it,
yeah, you're good.
What's
It's
the
over.
point of
Yeah, what's the
eating
point?
it?
Yeah, exactly. I would buy it. I'll buy 500 of them.
so we just got a minimum PO. We just got a
Yeah.
PO.
You got a PO, not even LOI, a PO.
We got a PO.
PO.
Send the Stripe link.
Oh. $9.99 subscription service.
Shit, I would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Now is it we? Since we got a PO. Oh, now it's we. See, now he's thinking about it a little bit. Now he's like,
Oh
wait a
yeah, yeah.
minute.
It's interesting when they switch from a I
Yeah.
to we all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah. So we're actually thinking about it.
hey.
Our vision.
Vishal, how much you?
So what's the equity split on this?
So we'll take what 50 from Andreessen, and then we'll take 50 from Furcon.
Need to have Furcon in the cap too.
I mean, Dana White might want to be in this,
yeah.
Yeah, like trifecta
Right?
nutrition. Yeah, you can-
right?
Yeah,
It's like he might want to be in this, and then we get a big nutrition company to come in and buy it.
get on it to buy it.
I guess they wouldn't want it because we're hurting their sales because you're gonna stop eating the Cheetos.
No, on it is Rogan's.
No, I know, but I'm saying they're gonna stop us because like
Because you're hurting their margin on the other.
that
business.
we're killing their
yeah.
business.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we're in trouble. We should probably stop recording this because we're in trouble. Frito-Lay, Pepsi's upset right now.
Hey man, that's like owned by like some big Illuminati stuff. I'm gonna take this off.
Yeah, I got nothing to do with this.
I think that's a good place to
Wrap it up.
probably wrap it up, right?
Well, on that lovely note, Labib, where can people find you?
You can find me at Labib Yasir everywhere. So LABIBYASIR on all my platforms. And then check out Kayyo KAYYO XYZ
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for listening to this first episode of The Doc. Let us know what you thought. My Twitter will be in the description, or I'll pop it up right here. DM me your thoughts. You can find us.
The number one podcast.
Yes.
At
Founders Inc.
Founders Inc.
Yes, sir.
in the world.
Yes,
Biggest
sir.
mountaintop to climb, and we already did it.
And Labib's our biggest guest ever.
Biggest guest ever. Right. Let us know what you think before this gets any worse. Drop a comment if you're watching this on YouTube. Give us a rating if you're listening to this on iTunes, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.
Later, guys.